What led up to 4 people being found shot to death in a black SUV found in this cornfield Sunday afternoon?
Now, this is a big case out here in Dunn County, in Wisconsin and Minneapolis, as you'll see, because of the people involved in this case. This is just a crazy, bizarre case, and I know a lot of you guys didn't hear about this. This actually came across my desk, and I was just like, wow, I didn't even hear about this. But it just goes to show you the scope of the murderous crimes that's going on now, and the violent crime and the son violence that's going on now in this country, that something like this received zero national attention. So make sure you share these videos. Make sure you hit the like button. If you want to speak with me, make sure you subscribe to Ock Nation TV and join the live stream every Tuesday and Friday night at 9:30 p.m. Link is in the description box.
What led up to 4 people being found shot to death in a black SUV found in this cornfield Sunday afternoon?
As our investigation has progressed, we believe that the suspect or suspects in this case left the area after abandoning the SUV in the cornfield.
The Ramsey County Medical Examiner identified the victims as 20-year-old Jasmine Strum, 35-year-old Lois Foreman III, and 26-year-old Matthew Pettis, all of which were from St. Paul. The 4th victim is 30-year-old Natasha Presley of Stillwater.
Sisters, if you saw the end of the video I did the other day on the grandson of Cleveland Mayor Frank Johnson, he was gunned down. I just showed you the amount of sisters that have been killed in Cleveland recently. Just that one place. So many sisters killed similar to this in public by people they don't know. We're not talking about domestic situations, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, things get heated, resentment over the years, people they don't know. The majority of sisters, because of stray bullets, because of random gun violence, because of mass shootings, because of things like that, drive-bys, the majority of sisters in this country are murdered by someone they've never even seen. And you won't hear people from Joy Reid or any of the other sisters who have platforms on TV or on YouTube. You'll only hear about it here, so make sure you hit the like button, subscribe.
20-year-old Jasmine Strum, 35-year-old Lois Foreman III, and 26-year-old Matthew Pettis, all of which were from St. Paul. The 4th victim is 30-year-old Natasha Presley of Stillwater.
She was daddy's baby.
Whose father, Damone Presley, described her as a loving daughter and caring mother of 2.
I last spoke to my daughter Saturday around 8:30.
Presley says Natasha dropped her daughter off at his house before heading out for the night.
She was just like, Dad, I want to go hang out with some friends.
Little did he realize it'd be the last time he'd hear from his baby girl.
And I don't know sometimes what I'm feeling. I'm angry. I truly believe somebody knows something.
It's another senseless act of gun violence that Presley's close friend and peace activist K.G. Wilson is all too familiar with. His 6-year-old granddaughter was shot and killed in May.
Remember I did that video on this brother? And he said he was leaving the city and he was giving up on it after his granddaughter got killed? Well, he's back. Back in St. Paul, Minneapolis area. He's back. He couldn't stay away. Good brother. I just don't know. And I'm going to do a video later on about what's going on in Minneapolis. A lot of gun violence in Minneapolis. Insane amount. It would make you think like the whole news media, the whole world media was there just a year ago. And you think that they would follow up on that city to see, like, okay, Minneapolis a year later after George Floyd. But they know better. They know if they go back to do a year later Minneapolis, it's going to show crime through the roof. And little kids like this guy's granddaughter being gunned down in public every other day.
That Presley's close friend and peace activist K.G. Wilson is all too familiar with. His 6-year-old granddaughter was shot and killed in May.
If you know something, say something. Because if this individual could do this to these 4 people, they could do it to you or your family members. My daughter would be the last person that anybody would want to harm.
This man, Antoine Suggs, is now facing 4 murder charges in the quadruple homicide of 4 Minnesotans.
I know you're shocked. I know you're absolutely floored by this revelation. I'm going to give you a minute to gather yourself because I don't want you to, this is the premiere, and I don't want you to be behind everybody. So get up off the floor. Breathe, get your heart at a normal rate. I know the shock completely shocked you. And let's continue.
This man, Antoine Suggs, is now facing 4 murder charges in the quadruple homicide of 4 Minnesotans. Jennifer Hoff is here now to share the new information that we've learned tonight. Jennifer?
Julie, it's been a question as this case has developed. And tonight we know Antoine Suggs allegedly killed the 4 people in St. Paul before leaving their bodies in a cornfield in Wisconsin. New court documents also shed light on what Suggs allegedly told his father the day those victims were found.
According to the criminal complaint, Antoine Suggs told his father he snapped and shot a couple of people.
He snapped. Man, snapping is like when you punch a wall or something or throw something. This is like, I don't know. This guy is more than snap. Let's put it like that.
According to the criminal complaint, Antoine Suggs told his father he snapped and shot a couple of people. The 4 victims were found in a Mercedes-Benz on September 12th in a rural western Wisconsin cornfield. Suggs is also facing 4 counts of hiding a corpse, as is his father. The complaint says witnesses put Suggs at the St. Paul bar, the White Squirrel, with the victims, who were also seen getting into that Benz. The documents say he told his dad the shooting happened in the vehicle on 7th Street.
Shot all 4 of those people while inside the vehicle. And this glacier glider squirrel, somehow all this is going to be his fault.
Witnesses put Suggs at the St. Paul bar, the White Squirrel, with the victims, who were also seen getting into that Benz. The documents say he told his dad the shooting happened in the vehicle on 7th Street. Investigators say there is surveillance video from that area showing one victim slumped over in the front passenger seat, putting their deaths between 3:30 and 4 in the morning the same day they were found. Shortly after that, the documents say Suggs called his dad, who would allegedly follow his son to Wisconsin in another car, making multiple stops at gas stations, leaving blood in the parking lots where the Benz stopped. MnDOT video showed the pair crossing into Wisconsin around 10:30 in the morning. His dad was later arrested, and Suggs turned himself in Arizona last Friday.
There's also this. Officials found Suggs' Arizona driver's license actually in that abandoned Mercedes and say that he had been living there in Arizona, traveling back and forth between here and Minnesota, or there in Minnesota, rather. He's currently in custody there, waiting to be extradited here to Minnesota. Randy?
Tonight's big story, an Arizona man faces charges in a quadruple murder after he turned himself in. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for 12 News at 10. I'm Mitch Carr alongside Caribe Devine. Mark Curtis has the night off.
Police in Wisconsin found 4 people dead in a car abandoned in a cornfield. One person was arrested in Minnesota and the other surrendered to Gilbert police. Team 12's Bianca Bono has more on this complicated case.
Wisconsin authorities say one of the major clues that led them to a man here in Arizona, his driver's license, which was found in the car next to the victims.
You know, one of my favorite shows on TV is World's Dumbest. For some reason, I know it's corny and cheesy, but I love that show, World's Dumbest. I don't know what it's Comedy Network or somewhere, wherever it is, on one of them channels. They watch old videos of people doing stupid stuff. And each show has a different theme. World's Dumbest this, World's Dumbest Daredevils, World's Dumbest, skaters, or World's Dumbest skydive, whatever. They have different things. Watch how many of these cases, and this is another theme. I know I'm overloading you guys with themes. But just watch a lot of these Sunmen, the trail of evidence they leave at the scene, and just the brazenness of the crimes, that if it wasn't for no snitching, like, nobody would have snitched on this, because they were begging for people to come forward. Had he not left his... Had he not just done it in the parking lot, had he not been, had he not left blood at different scenes, he could have been caught but still beat it. He left too much, he could have beat it. But had he not left his identification card, and remember, Democrats tell you that some people don't have them ID cards. Oh, they don't say that no more. It's not election season. But during election season, every 4 years they tell you that some people don't have ID cards. But if this guy hadn't left his in that car, he would have probably gotten caught, but he may have been able to beat it, because it's just crazy. This is just a bizarre community.
My daughter ain't hurt his soul.
A father faced with an unimaginable loss. His daughter, Natasha Lee Flug Presley, found shot to death in an SUV abandoned in a cornfield in Wisconsin.
I'm sad and angry.
Natasha not alone. Her longtime friend, Jasmine Christine Sturm, Sturm's brother, Matthew Pettis, and Sturm's boyfriend, Levis Foreman III, also killed alongside her.
I still feel like I'm in some type of a horror movie.
A farmer making the grim discovery Sunday. Documents said surveillance video, traces of blood, and an ID left behind led police to two suspects. 56-year-old Darren Lee Osborne, who was arrested in Minnesota, and his son, 38-year-old Antoine Suggs, who's been missing until now, turning up in Gilbert. Gilbert police say the Arizona man turned himself in to them Friday. Officials have not said who carried out the killings, but believe evidence will show it. 12 News learning more about the Arizona suspect's past through court records. In 2019, Suggs was accused of intentionally driving into another woman's car near Cottonwood Lane in Phoenix, then opening her door and punching her in the face and mouth before strangling her with both hands around her neck, only stopping because a witness stepped in to help.
Sounds like a really dynamite guy, man. His dad did a great job.
In 2019, Suggs was accused of intentionally driving into another woman's car near Cottonwood Lane in Phoenix, then opening her door and punching her in the face and mouth before strangling her with both hands around her neck, only stopping because a witness stepped in to help. Records show the woman thought he was going to kill her. Suggs pleading guilty to aggravated assault, sentenced to 6 months in jail. Now, as Suggs' father is charged with 4 counts of hiding a corpse, more charges loom large as Suggs awaits extradition back to Wisconsin. Bianca Bono, 12 News.
Yeah, there really are. The Dunn County Sheriff confirming for us tonight that the 2 men that they've connected to this quadruple homicide are actually father and son. On top of that, the man we interviewed, the father of victim Natasha Presley, says he personally knows one of those suspects.
Grew up with him in the community here in St. Paul.
And that's the stand. Wow. Whew. grew up with the guy. And it didn't have to be anything personal. It's just 6 degrees of separation. He grew up with the dad. I don't think the dad did this. The son did this. And the dad helped him dispose of the bodies. But his kid killed his kid. And that's the stand for you. What a dreadful place, man.
Grew up with him. In the community here in St. Paul.
Damone Presley facing yet another devastating blow as he still deals with the grief of losing his daughter Tasha to homicide. As it turns out, Presley knows the 56-year-old man currently in jail and connected to the killing of Tasha and 3 others. So your father helped the suspect at some point, kind of mentoring him?
Mentoring him as a young man as he's done several young men and women in this community.
So this guy's dad mentored the guy who would go on to have a kid that would one day kill his granddaughter. Nothing works. Nothing works. There's no hope. All you can do is refund the police and elect mean judges. Judges with an attitude, JWA. And prosecutors with an attitude, PWA. That's the only thing you can do. Programs, funding, violence interrupter, mentorship, none of that stuff works.
As it turns out, Presley knows the 56-year-old man currently in jail and connected to the killing of Tasha and 3 others. So your father helped the suspect at some point, kind of mentoring him?
Mentoring him as a young man as he's done several young men and women in this community.
Darren Osborne and his son, Antoine Suggs, are both accused of moving the bodies of the 4 that were killed. Osborne was picked up in St. Paul last night. Suggs is still on the run. It's not been said yet who investigators believe carried out the murders or why. Presley said there's no motive that would make sense in his mind.
Whatever it was, whatever happened, my daughter and her 3 friends shouldn't have lost their life. As I said yesterday, no excuse, no rationalization, no justification for taking my daughter's life or her friend's life. I don't care what it was. Period.
Ashley Jones feels the same way. Her brother, Lois Foreman III, was one of the 4 found dead inside that SUV in that Dunn County cornfield.
I think they're evil. They're monsters. There's nothing a sane person. You can't be sane and do that.
And now families of all the victims are demanding justice.
Tomorrow marks 1 week since 4 Minnesotans were found shot to death in an abandoned SUV in Wisconsin. We followed many developments since then, including the arrests of a father and son. The son turned himself into police in Arizona. Among those killed, Matthew Pettis, Jasmine Sturm, Natasha Flug Presley, and Lois Foreman III. Tonight, David Schumann spoke with Natasha's family as they remember her life and share a message of unity and peace.
Natasha Presley was never alone in life, and she certainly wasn't in death. Not with this community that supported her and loved her.
Natasha was that driving force for me that I began to see how important it was to be a father.
Damone Presley remembered and celebrated his baby girl Saturday in St. Paul, along with all these family members and friends. He said she was bright, loving, and caring, and called her killing a senseless tragedy.
There's no rationalization, justification, any excuse,
or outrageous nonsense that you can come up with to tell me why or when and how you killed my child.
I love this guy's passion, man. I love this guy's passion. Now, you see the cold chain, and he's probably from the streets and whatnot. So he's probably not scared. You know, he's not afraid like the majority of Sun people to speak his mind. I love his passion, man. This is what it takes, man. This type of passion, man. Because too many times these things happen and it's no, man. I don't care what happened, what somebody said, or somebody said something, or you was pushing up on somebody's sister and they told you to back off, or somebody turned you down. Some stupid, I don't care what it was. You killed those 4 people, just executed all of those people on the spot. And then we got to hear about how cops is quick to shoot. Cops don't even see us as humans. And all this crap from these sisters that take up for these Sun men all the time. And it's like, no one is quicker with the trigger. No one doesn't see your humanity more than a Sun man.
There's no rationalization, justification, any excuse, or outrageous nonsense that you can come up with to tell me why or when and how you killed my child.
Naida Presley remembered her granddaughter with stories of how family-oriented she was.
She was a jewel. She was a light. So funny. And she was the glue that keeps all the families together.
Aunts, uncles, and friends spoke about Natasha and also about the futility of living a life of violence. They thanked St. Paul Mayor Melvin Carter as well as law enforcement.
If we determine this crime occurred in St. Paul, everyone in our department and community will be rolling up their sleeves to bring justice to these families.
But why, though? This is the epicenter of defund the police. They was trying to assault y'all, burn down y'all station. And they dispersed you to the entire world last year. They made a mockery of you. They ran the mayor, they had the mayor running scared out of a protest because he wouldn't defund you. Then they defund you and took a lot of your funding. And they took the actions of one of your officers in that area, even though this is St. Paul, but St. Paul, Minneapolis, they're the twin cities. And said that all of y'all were racist. And now here you are standing with the family, vowing to get justice for them. And obviously this is before the son turned himself in Arizona, but it's just crazy how these people are nuts, man. Some people are crazy.
For those who know something, speak up.
You're not a stitch if you tell what you know.
In St. Paul, David Schumann, WCCO 4 News.
And police believe he had a relationship with Flug Presley.
So, our shooter had a relationship with Natasha Flug Presley. This guy's daughter right here. Here he is with his daughter. So that was what the impetus was. That was what the... God. So this sister right here was dating that guy who just 2 years ago bashed a woman's head in and choked her. Luckily, a bystander witness stepped in, or he was going to, I don't know what he was going to do. I guess he was going to kill her. But this is the guy she was dating. And I'm not going to say choose better because you don't know. Look, Pookie's got more game. That's why Pookie's ain't on Kevin Samuels' live stream at 11 o'clock on a Friday night, whining about sisters. The average Pookie don't know who Kevin Samuels is because they don't have the type of problems that those guys have with sisters. We just have to admit that, man. Sisters like, they're attracted to edge. And all women are attracted to edge. And Pookies have edge. He speaks to that primal, unquantified sixth, seventh sense in cave women. And it's something that's attractive about that to women. Now, sisters are going to be wired differently. Okay? Sisters are going to be wired different. And this is definitely a biracial woman, but she still has that gene. Look at her father. She still has that gene, and that gene is very powerful. So she has that gene in her. And so did all the other 4 people who were killed. They all had that gene. They had that they had that SSA. And sisters like that, they need more of an edge than other groups. And that's why they end up with guys like this, I think. But what I think happened is something like this. She told him she didn't want to see him anymore. They got to arguing. Maybe one of the other guys steps in. Hey, man, take a walk. Well, hey, man, she said she don't want to talk to you anymore. Why don't you leave? And I promise you that was what happened, man. And I'll give you an update once everything comes out. Because I think they're going to talk. Dad and son both going to give statements. I guarantee you it was something like that. Hey, man, she doesn't want to talk to you anymore. Can't you tell? And him being like a uber emotional, like an emotional wreck. Most son men are emotional wrecks. So he just snapped and shot everybody. I promise you that's what happened.